In a luxury restaurant, a waiter insulted Steve Harvey, not realizing he was the owner. What started as a moment of frustration between two strangers became a shocking encounter that would challenge everything they believed about respect, privilege, and second chances. The waiter had no idea who he was serving. Steve Harvey had no idea what he was about to witness. And in the next few minutes, both of their lives would change forever. This is the story of how a single insult became the most valuable lesson either of them would ever learn. Picture this: the glitz and glam of an upscale restaurant, where laughter dances in the air and the aroma of gourmet dishes fills your senses like a warm embrace. Crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow over mahogany tables, and the elite patrons speak in hushed, confident tones, the kind of voices that belong to people accustomed to being heard. This is a world of privilege, where success is displayed like jewelry on the wrists of the wealthy, where every detail has been carefully curated to whisper one simple message: you have arrived. The walls are adorned with tasteful artwork, each piece worth more than most people's monthly salary. The waitstaff moves with practiced grace, their uniforms pristine and their smiles perfectly measured. Everything about this place screams exclusivity, refinement, and the kind of wealth that doesn't need to announce itself. Among them sits Steve Harvey, a king in his domain, indulging in a rare moment of peace after a grueling week of television tapings and public appearances. He's exhausted but satisfied, finally able to breathe in the sanctuary of his own creation. The soft hum of conversation and the gentle clink of wine glasses surround him like a lullaby. He's built this empire from nothing, and tonight he's celebrating the fruits of his labor. His table is positioned perfectly, not too visible, but visible enough. A man of his stature deserves to be noticed, even when he's trying to relax. He loosens his tie slightly, allowing himself a moment of vulnerability that only comes when you're surrounded by people who know your name, who respect your presence, who understand the weight of your success. This restaurant isn't just a business to him. It's a monument to his journey, a physical representation of how far he's come from the days when he had nothing. But on the other side of the kitchen doors, there's a completely different world. A world that exists in the shadows, hidden from the glittering patrons who dine in comfort. Jordan, a young waiter in his late 20s, is drowning in a sea of frustration and financial strain that seems to have no bottom. Working double shifts, barely making ends meet, he watches the wealthy patrons from the shadows like a ghost observing the living, seeing them as symbols of everything he doesn't have and everything he may never achieve. His feet ache from standing for 12 hours straight, a pain that has become so familiar, it feels like part of his identity. His back screams with every step. His hands are raw from washing dishes and carrying heavy trays. His bank account is nearly empty, hovering just above zero like a bird about to fall from the sky. His dreams feel like distant mirages, shimmering on the horizon, but never getting any closer, no matter how hard he runs toward them. He sees the smiles, the celebrations, the carefree laughter of people who never have to worry about paying rent or choosing between gas and groceries. He watches couples toast to their anniversaries with champagne that costs more than his weekly paycheck. He hears businessmen discussing their vacation homes and investment portfolios while he's calculating whether he can afford to eat dinner tonight. The bitterness builds inside him like pressure in a kettle about to boil over. It's a slow burn that started years ago and has only intensified with time. Every night, he comes home to a tiny apartment, collapses on a bed that's seen better days, and wonders if this is all life has to offer him. Is this it? Is this the extent of his existence? To serve the dreams of others while his own remain locked away, gathering dust? He's tried everything. He's worked hard, played by the rules, done what society told him to do. But somehow, the gap between him and people like Steve Harvey only seems to grow wider. It's not fair. It's not right. And tonight, he's tired of pretending it doesn't matter. As he approaches Steve's table, the weight of his struggles hangs like a storm cloud over him. His feet ache, his patience is worn thin, and his heart carries the resentment of a man who feels left behind by the world. His forced smile doesn't reach his eyes. His posture is rigid, defensive. There's an invisible wall around him, built brick by brick from years of disappointment and unfulfilled potential. He doesn't know it yet. But this single moment, this one encounter, is about to blow his entire world wide open. The collision of these two worlds, these two men living in completely different realities, is about to create a spark that neither of them could have predicted. But Jordan had no idea who he was about to serve. The evening is in full swing. The restaurant hums with the energy of success. Conversations blend together like a symphony. Laughter punctuates the air. And the soft clinking of silverware against fine china creates a rhythmic backdrop to the night. It's the kind of atmosphere that money creates, that privilege purchases, that only exists in places where people have already made it. The lighting is deliberately warm and intimate, casting everyone in a flattering glow that makes them look more successful, more beautiful, more alive than they probably are in the harsh light of day. Candles flicker on each table, their flames dancing like tiny celebrations. The waiters move between tables with practiced grace, their movements synchronized like a well-rehearsed ballet. Everything is orchestrated, everything is controlled, everything is perfect. Steve sits at his table, reviewing the evening with quiet satisfaction. He's earned this moment, every second of it. Every late night spent working when others were sleeping, every rejection he faced early in his career when nobody believed in him, every time someone told him he wasn't good enough, that he'd never make it, that he should give up and accept a more modest life. All of it has led to this moment. He's built something real, something lasting, something that will outlive him. His name is on the door. His vision shaped every aspect of this place. His determination transformed a struggling establishment into one of the most sought-after reservations in the city. People wait months to get a table here. Celebrities request him by name. Critics praise his vision and his business acumen. Tonight, he's celebrating a particularly good day. His latest business venture has exceeded expectations, and the numbers are speaking for themselves. Speaking so loudly that even his competitors are taking notice. The profit margins are higher than projected. The expansion plans are moving forward ahead of schedule. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold lately. He glances at the menu, not because he needs to. He knows every dish by heart, could probably recite them in his sleep. But because it's part of the ritual, the ceremonial acknowledgement of the dining experience. He's a regular here, after all. More than a regular, he's the owner, the man who signs the checks, the man who made this dream a reality from nothing but an idea and sheer determination. The soft glow of the candle on his table casts shadows across his face, highlighting the lines of success etched into his features. There's a contentment in his expression, a sense of arrival, of having finally reached the destination he set out for so many years ago. He's worked hard for this. He's sacrificed for this. And now, he's reaping the rewards. He loosens his tie just slightly, allowing himself to fully relax into the moment. His shoulders, usually tense with the weight of responsibility, drop slightly. His breathing becomes deeper, more measured. For the first time in weeks, he feels truly at peace. With a warm smile, he prepares to order. his mood buoyant and generous, the kind of generous that only comes when you know you have more than enough. He's in that rare state of mind where success feels good, where gratitude flows freely, where he wants to celebrate with everyone around him, to share the joy of his accomplishments. It's the kind of energy that makes a man feel invincible, like nothing can touch him, like he's finally figured out the secret to happiness and success. He wants to spread that energy, to let it infect everyone around him, to make them feel a fraction of what he's feeling. "I'll have the special tonight," he says as Jordan approaches, his voice carrying the easy confidence of someone accustomed to being heard and obeyed without question. His tone is warm, almost paternal. "And make it a celebration. I'm in a good mood, my friend. Life's been good to me, and I want to enjoy every moment of it." He reaches out and pats the young waiter on the shoulder, a gesture meant to be warm and inclusive, a way of saying, "You're part of this too. You're part of my success story." In Steve's mind, he's being generous, kind even. He's treating this young man like a human being, not just a servant. He's acknowledging his humanity. But Jordan hears something completely different. In that moment, as those words hit his ears like bullets, Jordan's exhaustion crystallizes into a sharp, burning point. His frustration, the kind that's been building for years, layered on top of disappointment after disappointment, suddenly feels unbearable. His resentment, which he's been carefully suppressing, suddenly erupts like a volcano that's been dormant for far too long. He hears condescension. He hears mockery. He hears a wealthy man bragging about his good fortune, his abundance, his success to someone who is struggling just to survive. He hears the implicit message screaming between the lines, "Look at me. Look at what I have. Look at the life I've built. Look at everything you'll never be. Look at the gap between us, a gap so wide you'll never be able to cross it." The words feel like salt being rubbed into open wounds. They feel like a reminder of every failure, every setback, every time life has knocked him down and refused to let him get back up. They feel like a celebration of inequality, a boast about privilege, a demonstration of power. Jordan's hands begin to shake. His vision blurs slightly at the edges. His heart rate spikes, pounding in his chest like a drum being beaten by an angry god. The professional mask he's worn all night, the fake smile that never quite reaches his eyes, the polite nod that feels like a betrayal of his true self, the "yes, sir," and "right away, sir" that tastes like poison on his tongue, suddenly feels suffocating. It feels like a prison he's been locked in for far too long. It feels like a cage that's slowly been shrinking, and now there's barely any room left to breathe. The walls are closing in. The air is running out. He's suffocating under the weight of his own servitude. Something inside Jordan snaps like a twig underfoot. Something fundamental breaks. The dam holding back years of pent-up anger, frustration, and resentment suddenly ruptures, and everything comes pouring out at once. Maybe if you worked a day in my shoes, you'd know what it takes to celebrate. He fires back, his voice sharp and cutting, dripping with venom he's been storing up for years. The words come out louder than he intended, louder than is appropriate, louder than any waiter should ever speak to a customer. His voice cracks slightly with emotion. Anger, yes, but also pain, desperation, and a kind of raw honesty that he's been suppressing for so long it feels dangerous, like releasing pressure from a bomb. The words hang in the air, like a grenade that's just been detonated, like a bomb that's just been dropped, like a stone that's been thrown into a perfectly still pond, sending ripples outward in every direction. Gasps ripple through the restaurant like shock waves through water. The laughter fades, replaced by a deafening silence so complete it feels like the entire world has stopped breathing. Every eye turns toward their table. Every conversation pauses mid-sentence. The air itself seems to hold its breath, waiting to see what happens next. Forks pause halfway to mouths. Wine glasses stop mid-sip. Even the soft background music seems to fade into insignificance. The entire restaurant has become an audience, and Jordan and Steve are suddenly the stars of an unexpected drama. Jordan stands there, trembling, his chest heaving with the adrenaline of his outburst. His legs feel weak, like they might give out beneath him at any moment. His mouth is dry. His palms are sweating. He's shocked at his own audacity. He's terrified of the consequences. He's exhilarated by the freedom of finally saying what he really thinks. For the first time in months, maybe years, he's spoken his truth. He's stopped playing the game. He's stopped pretending. He's stopped being the person everyone expects him to be. And in this moment, despite his fear, there's a strange sense of liberation. But the cost of that honesty is about to become painfully clear. Steve's face shifts slowly, surprise morphing into something deeper. Disappointment mixed with a hint of empathy, tinged with something darker. His initial reaction is to be offended, to use his power and position to put this young man in his place, to remind him of the hierarchy, to make it clear that you don't speak to Steve Harvey that way. But something in Steve's eyes suggests he understands there's more to this story than just a rude waiter. There's a flicker of recognition, a moment of understanding. He sees himself in this young man, sees the desperation, the frustration, the feeling of being trapped by circumstances beyond your control. "You might want to know who you're talking to before throwing around insults," he replies, his voice calm and measured, almost unnervingly so. His calmness only intensifies the tension in the air. It's the kind of quiet authority that comes from someone who doesn't need to raise his voice to be heard, someone who knows that true power doesn't announce itself with volume. His words are delivered with the precision of a surgeon's knife, not meant to wound, but to cut through the noise and get to the truth. There's a threat implicit in his calmness, a promise that consequences are coming, but delivered with such control that it's almost more frightening than anger would be. The other patrons lean in, sensing drama, hungry for conflict. Some pull out their phones, ready to capture whatever comes next. This has become the entertainment of the evening, the unexpected plot twist that will give them something to talk about for weeks, something to post on social media, something to make their evening memorable. Jordan's face goes pale, the color draining from his cheeks like water from a bathtub. He suddenly realizes the gravity of what he's done. He's just publicly disrespected a customer in a luxury restaurant. He's violated every rule of hospitality, every unspoken code of the service industry. He's crossed a line that, in the service industry, is usually a one-way ticket to unemployment, blacklisting, and a permanent stain on his professional reputation. His stomach churns. His legs feel weak. The adrenaline that fueled his outburst suddenly vanishes, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. What has he done? What was he thinking? He has no savings, no safety net, no backup plan. This job, as much as he hates it, is all he has. It's what's keeping him afloat. But what Jordan doesn't know, what he's about to discover in the most humiliating way possible, is that he's just insulted the one person in this entire restaurant who has the power to destroy his already fragile life. He's just made an enemy of the wrong person. He's just crossed the wrong line. And that realization is about to hit him like a tsunami, sweeping away everything he thought he knew about his life, his future, and his place in this world. The silence that follows Steve's words is suffocating. oppressive, like the air has been sucked out of the room and replaced with something heavy and toxic. Jordan's heart pounds so violently in his chest that he's certain everyone in the restaurant can hear it. His palms are slick with sweat. His throat feels constricted, like invisible hands are squeezing the life out of him. Steve leans back in his chair, studying Jordan with an intensity that makes the young man feel completely exposed, like every secret, every failure, every moment of weakness is being laid bare for examination. There's no anger in Steve's eyes. That would be easier to handle somehow. Instead, there's something far more unsettling. A cool, calculated assessment. "Do you know who I am?" Steve asks, his voice low and controlled, each word carefully enunciated. It's not a question born of ego or arrogance, though it certainly sounds that way. It's a genuine inquiry, a moment of teaching, a chance for Jordan to understand the magnitude of his mistake. Jordan's mouth goes dry. Of course he knows who Steve is. Everyone knows who Steve is. Steve Harvey owns this restaurant. Steve Harvey owns several restaurants. Steve Harvey is a successful businessman, a man of means, a man of power. But in this moment, the full weight of that reality crashes down on Jordan like a tidal wave. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean... Jordan stammers, his voice barely above a whisper. The anger that fueled his outburst has evaporated completely, replaced by pure, undiluted fear. His legs feel like they might collapse beneath him. He grips the edge of a nearby table to steady himself. "You didn't mean to be disrespectful? You didn't mean to embarrass yourself in this establishment?" Steve interrupts, his tone sharp as a blade. "Or you didn't mean to do it in front of an audience?" The words are designed to cut, and they do. Jordan flinches as if physically struck. Around them, the other patrons are pretending not to watch, but their attention is laser-focused on this unfolding drama. Some have actually put down their forks, their meals forgotten in favor of this real-life spectacle. "I apologize," Jordan says again, more desperately this time. "I was out of line. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. I'll get you your meal right away. On the house, anything you want." Steve holds up a hand, silencing him. "That's not what this is about," he says quietly. His eyes never leave Jordan's face, studying him with the intensity of someone trying to solve a complex puzzle. "What's your name, son?" "Jordan," he replies, confusion mixing with his fear. "Jordan Mitchell." "Well, Jordan Mitchell," Steve says, setting down his napkin with deliberate precision. "You've just made a very public mistake. You've insulted a customer. You've disrupted this establishment. And you've done it in front of dozens of witnesses who, by tomorrow morning, will have told at least 100 other people about what happened here tonight." Jordan's stomach twists into knots. He knows where this is going. He's about to be fired. Worse, he's about to be made an example of. Word will spread through the service industry like wildfire. No other restaurant will hire him. His reputation will be destroyed. "I understand, sir," Jordan says, his voice hollow. "I'll clear out my locker and..." "You're not listening," Steve interrupts again, leaning forward slightly. "I'm not going to fire you." The words hang in the air, and for a moment, Jordan isn't sure he's heard correctly. His brain struggles to process what Steve just said. Not firing him. But that's what happens when you disrespect a customer. That's the natural consequence. That's how the world works. What?" Jordan manages to ask. "I said I'm not going to fire you," Steve repeats, his expression unreadable. "But I'm also not going to let you walk away from this without learning something." You made an assumption about me. You made a judgment based on what you see on the surface. And you let your anger, your very justified anger, by the way, get the better of you. Steve stands up from his table, and immediately Jordan takes a step back, unsure what's about to happen. But Steve doesn't approach him aggressively. Instead, he gestures for Jordan to sit down at his table. "Sit," Steve commands. And it's not a request. It's an order delivered with the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed. Jordan hesitates, glancing around at the watching patrons, at the phones being held up to record, at the spectacle he's become. Every instinct tells him to refuse, to walk away, to quit before he can be fired. But something in Steve's eyes, a strange mixture of authority and something almost like kindness, makes him comply. He sits down across from Steve, his body rigid, his mind racing with possibilities. What is this? A trap? Some kind of psychological game? Is Steve setting him up for an even more public humiliation? "You want to know something, Jordan?" Steve asks, leaning back in his chair, studying the young man across from him. "I used to be you." Jordan's eyes widen. He can't imagine this successful, powerful man ever being anything like him. The statement seems absurd, almost insulting in its suggestion. "Not exactly like you, maybe," Steve continues, reading the skepticism on Jordan's face. "But I was hungry. I was angry. I was tired of watching other people succeed while I struggled. I was working jobs that didn't pay me what I was worth. I was living paycheck to paycheck, wondering if I'd ever make it to the next level." He pauses, taking a sip of water, letting his words sink in. "The difference between me and a lot of people who feel the way you do is that I made a choice. I decided that my circumstances weren't going to define my future. I decided that anger was going to be fuel, not poison. I decided that I was going to work harder, smarter, and longer than anyone else around me." Steve's eyes lock onto Jordan's, and there's something in that gaze, something raw and real, that makes Jordan believe, for the first time, that this man actually understands what he's going through. "But here's the thing," Steve continues. "Anger without direction is just noise. It's just hot air. You can be angry at the world, at people like me, at the unfairness of it all, and that anger will eat you alive from the inside out. Or you can take that anger and transform it into something useful. You can use it as motivation." Jordan sits in stunned silence, unsure how to respond. Around them, the restaurant has slowly returned to its normal hum of conversation, though many eyes still occasionally drift toward their table. "So here's what's going to happen," Steve says, his tone shifting to something more businesslike. "You're going to finish your shift tonight. You're going to do your job with professionalism and grace. And tomorrow, you're going to come see me in my office. We're going to talk about what you want out of life, Jordan. And then we're going to see if I can help you get there." Jordan's breath catches in his throat. This isn't what he expected. This isn't punishment. It's an opportunity. But it's also terrifying because it means Steve is taking him seriously, which means there are expectations, which means he can't hide behind excuses anymore. "Why would you do that?" Jordan asks, his voice barely above a whisper. "After what I just said to you?" Steve smiles, a genuine smile that reaches his eyes and transforms his entire face. "Because everyone deserves a second chance, Jordan. I got mine. And I never forgot what that felt like. The question is, are you ready to actually do something with yours?" Jordan nods, unable to trust his voice. As he stands to return to his duties, his mind is spinning with 1,000 questions, 1,000 possibilities, 1,000 fears. He's just been given something he didn't even know he was looking for: hope. But as he walks back toward the kitchen, he can't shake the feeling that his life has just fundamentally changed. The collision that happened tonight between him and Steve Harvey wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of something entirely new. Something neither of them could have predicted. Something that would force both of them to confront who they really were and who they wanted to become. The night is far from over, and neither Jordan nor Steve has any idea just how much this single moment will transform both of their lives. The sun rises the next morning, casting a warm golden hue over the city. The streets are alive with the hustle and bustle of a new day, cars honking, people rushing to their destinations, and the aroma of fresh coffee wafting through the air. For many, it's just another day filled with routine. But for Jordan, today feels different, charged with possibility and uncertainty. He wakes up early, the weight of last night's events pressing heavily on his mind. The conversation with Steve Harvey replaying in his head like the chorus of a catchy song. What does it mean? What does this opportunity entail? He barely slept, his thoughts racing, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. As he prepares for work, he stares into the mirror, trying to find the resolve he needs. The reflection looking back at him seems unfamiliar. A man standing on the precipice of change, unsure of what lies ahead, but knowing that the path he's on is about to shift dramatically. He splashes water on his face, takes a deep breath, and steels himself for the day. Arriving at the restaurant, the familiar hustle of the kitchen greets him. The clattering of pots, the sizzling of food, and the chatter of his co-workers form a chaotic yet comforting backdrop. But today, there's a new energy coursing through him. He's no longer just a waiter. He's a man on the verge of transformation. He glides through the restaurant, greeting patrons with a newfound confidence. Each smile feels less like a mask and more like an invitation to connect. He takes orders, serves meals, and engages with customers, his interactions laced with a warmth that feels genuine. The anger that once bubbled beneath the surface has dissipated, replaced by a sense of purpose. As the shift progresses, Jordan feels the weight of his previous frustrations lifting. He's fully engaged in his work, and for the first time in a long while, he feels a sense of pride in what he's doing. He remembers Steve's words: use your anger as motivation. Instead of allowing his past to anchor him down, he's embracing each moment, each interaction as a step toward his future. When the evening shift finally concludes, Jordan's heart races as he prepares to meet Steve in his office. He's nervous, the knot in his stomach twisting tighter with each passing second. What will Steve say? What will this meeting entail? As he approaches the office door, he hesitates for a moment, taking a deep breath to calm his nerves. Then he knocks softly, the sound echoing in the otherwise quiet corridor. "Come in," Steve calls from within, his voice warm and welcoming. Jordan steps inside, and the sight that greets him is both intimidating and inspiring. The office is spacious, adorned with framed photos of Steve at various events, awards lining the shelves, and a large desk that commands attention. Steve sits behind it, looking up from his paperwork, a smile breaking across his face. "Jordan, glad you could make it," he says, gesturing for him to take a seat. "I know today feels like a big deal, but let's just talk. No pressure." Jordan nods, sitting down slowly, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Harvey. I really appreciate it. Steve leans back in his chair, his demeanor relaxed. Call me Steve. We're going to be working together, right? He pauses, letting the words sink in. So, tell me about yourself. What do you want to do? What are your dreams? Jordan swallows hard, the question hanging in the air like a challenge. For so long, he's buried his dreams beneath layers of practicality, convinced they were out of reach. But here, in this moment, he feels the flicker of hope. I've always wanted to work in entertainment, actually, he admits, his voice steadying. I love storytelling, whether it's through film, television, or even just connecting with people. I used to write scripts and short stories, but I never thought it was something I could pursue seriously. Steve listens intently, nodding along. And what's stopping you? Why haven't you gone for it? Jordan hesitates, the familiar doubts creeping in. I guess I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't have the connections. I was just a waiter, you know. I thought that was all I could be. That's where you're wrong, Steve interjects, leaning forward, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. You are more than just a waiter. This job is a stepping stone, not a ceiling. Everyone starts somewhere. I started in the same place as you, with nothing but a dream and a whole lot of hard work. It's all about how much you're willing to fight for it. Jordan feels a surge of energy at Steve's words, a flicker of determination igniting within him. So, what do I do next? Steve leans back, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. I want to help you. We can work on your resume, get you into some writing workshops, maybe even connect you with some people in the industry. But you have to promise me one thing. You have to put in the work. Nothing comes easy, especially in entertainment. Jordan nods vigorously, the fire within him growing stronger. I promise. I'll do whatever it takes. Good, Steve says, a grin spreading across his face. Let's get started then. I want to see what you can create. Show me your passion, your voice. Let's make your dreams a reality. As the meeting wraps up, Jordan leaves the office with a renewed sense of purpose. The conversation has shifted something within him, igniting a spark that he thought had long since extinguished. He feels lighter, more alive, as if he's finally stepped onto a path that aligns with who he is meant to be. Over the next few weeks, Jordan immerses himself in the world of writing and storytelling. He attends workshops, spends late nights honing his craft, and pitches ideas to Steve, who becomes not just a mentor, but a fierce advocate for his potential. With each passing day, Jordan's confidence grows, and he begins to shed the layers of doubt that have held him back for so long. His coworkers notice the change in him. They see the newfound energy, the passion that radiates from him, and they can't help but be inspired. Jordan becomes a beacon of positivity, motivating those around him, sharing his journey, and encouraging them to chase their own dreams. Meanwhile, the restaurant continues to thrive. Steve's vision is realized in every corner, but he knows that it's the people, like Jordan, who truly make it special. He watches with a sense of pride as his young protege transforms, not just in his work, but as a person. The collision they experienced that fateful night has set off a chain reaction that neither of them could have anticipated, forever altering the course of their lives. One evening, after a particularly successful shift where they've served a high-profile celebrity, Steve pulls Jordan aside. You're doing great work, Jordan. Keep this up, and you'll be where you want to be before you know it. Thank you, Steve. I couldn't have done it without you. Jordan replies, his heart swelling with gratitude. You could have, Steve corrects gently, placing a hand on Jordan's shoulder. You just needed someone to believe in you. Now you have to believe in yourself." With those words ringing in his ears, Jordan steps outside into the cool evening air, looking up at the stars twinkling overhead. He feels a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, and most importantly, a sense of hope. The world is wide open before him, full of endless possibilities, and he's ready to embrace whatever comes next. This is just the beginning. A new chapter has started, and he's determined to write it himself, one word at a time. Weeks turn into months as Jordan fully immerses himself in the world of writing and storytelling. The restaurant, once merely a place of employment, evolves into a backdrop for his transformation, a vibrant canvas where he learns not just the art of service, but also invaluable lessons about resilience, passion, and the power of connection. With Steve's mentorship guiding him, Jordan begins to see himself as more than just a waiter. He becomes a storyteller, a dreamer, and a creator, weaving tales that reflect his journey. As the days pass, Jordan develops a routine that balances his job at the restaurant with his burgeoning writing career. Mornings are dedicated to scribbling ideas in a well-worn notebook, where he meticulously jots down snippets of dialogue, character sketches, and plot outlines. He finds inspiration in the everyday moments around him, the laughter of diners, the camaraderie of his co-workers, the quiet moments of solitude when the restaurant is empty. Every spare moment transforms into an opportunity to hone his craft, fueled by a newfound determination that courses through his veins like electricity. Steve encourages him to submit some of his pieces to local competitions and online platforms. "You need to put your work out there," he tells Jordan one afternoon, leaning against the bar after a particularly busy lunch rush, his expression earnest. "You can't be afraid of rejection. It's part of the process. You can't let fear hold you back." With each submission, Jordan feels a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. He pours his heart into every story, exploring themes of struggle, hope, and redemption. Reflecting his own journey, he writes about characters who navigate through dark times, mirroring the path he's taken from the depths of frustration to a place of promise and potential. Then, one sunny afternoon, as Jordan is cleaning up after a particularly busy shift, he receives an email notification that makes his heart race. He pauses, wiping his hands on a towel, and opens the message. It's from a well-known online literary magazine he submitted to weeks ago. With a deep breath, he reads the words. "We are pleased to inform you that your story has been accepted for publication." Joy floods through him, pure and unfiltered, like a dam bursting. He can hardly believe it. It's a small victory, but it feels monumental. A validation of his talent, a sign that he's on the right path. He immediately rushes to find Steve, who's in the back office reviewing paperwork, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Steve!" he calls out, bursting into the room, his face alight with excitement and disbelief. "You won't believe this?" Steve looks up, curiosity piqued, a smile breaking across his face. "What is it?" "I got published. They accepted my story." Steve's face lights up with genuine pride. "That's amazing, Jordan. I knew you had it in you. I told you. This is fantastic news." Jordan's heart swells at Steve's praise. "I couldn't have done it without your support. You pushed me to take risks, to believe in myself. And look where it got you. This is just the beginning. Now, let's build on this momentum." "We need to celebrate," Steve exclaims, clapping Jordan on the back with enthusiasm. "How about we host a little gathering at the restaurant? Invite some friends and family. Share the news." As the excitement simmers down, Jordan realizes that this moment is a turning point. It's not just about the publication. It's about the journey he's undertaken and the people who have supported him along the way. He envisions a celebration filled with laughter, sharing stories, and raising a glass to the future. His future. With Steve's help, they organize a small gathering for the following weekend. Invitations are sent out to friends, family, and coworkers. And as the day approaches, Jordan's anticipation builds. He feels nervous, but also empowered, ready to share his journey and celebrate the progress he's made. On the day of the gathering, the restaurant is filled with a warm glow of candlelight, and the atmosphere is electric with excitement. Friends and family mingle, laughter ringing through the air like music as Jordan circulates, sharing his news and soaking in the support. The restaurant staff, who have seen Jordan's transformation firsthand, gather around him, cheering him on with genuine warmth and enthusiasm. As the night unfolds, Steve takes to the makeshift stage in the corner of the restaurant. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" he calls out, raising his glass. The room quiets down, all eyes on him, expectant and curious. Tonight, we're here to celebrate not just a publication, but a journey of hard work, resilience, and the power of believing in yourself. He begins, his voice steady and warm, resonating with pride. Jordan has shown us all what it means to pursue your dreams, to rise above challenges, and to support one another along the way. Jordan feels a swell of pride as Steve continues, recounting how he first met Jordan and the growth he's witnessed. Let's raise our glasses to Jordan Mitchell, a writer, a dreamer, and a friend. May this be just the first of many successes to come. The room erupts in cheers, and Jordan can hardly contain the emotions welling up inside him. This moment is everything he's worked for: the recognition, the support, the sense of belonging. It's a culmination of his hard work and the belief that others have placed in him. As the celebration continues, Jordan finds himself surrounded by friends, sharing stories and laughter, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He takes a moment to step outside, taking a deep breath of the cool night air. The stars twinkle above, and he feels a sense of connection to the universe, as if everything is aligning just as it should. In this moment, he understands that he is exactly where he needs to be. But as the night wears on, Jordan's thoughts drift back to the challenges ahead. He knows that while this is a victory, the road to success is often fraught with obstacles. He remembers Steve's words about rejection and the importance of perseverance, and he understands that one acceptance does not guarantee a smooth path forward. Back inside, a woman approaches him, someone he recognizes from the local literary community. "Jordan, congratulations on your publication. I read your story and I loved it," she says, her eyes sparkling with sincerity and admiration. "I'd love to discuss some future collaboration opportunities with you." Jordan's heart races again, this time with the thrill of new possibilities. "Thank you. I'd love to chat more. I'm open to any ideas." The conversation flows effortlessly, and as they exchange contact information, Jordan realizes that this celebration is not just about looking back. It's about propelling himself forward. Each interaction, each connection, is a step toward building the life he's envisioned for himself. As the night winds down and his friends begin to leave, Jordan feels a profound sense of gratitude for the journey he's on. With Steve's guidance, he's finally understanding the value of pursuing his dreams and the beauty of connection. The world feels larger now, filled with countless opportunities waiting to be seized. As he locks up the restaurant that night, he glances back at the space that has become a sanctuary of growth and friendship. He knows that this is just the beginning, a launching pad for all that is yet to come. The turning point has arrived, and he's ready to embrace it with open arms. Jordan steps out into the night, filled with hope and excitement for the future. The road ahead may be uncertain, but he's no longer afraid. With passion in his heart and determination in his soul, he's ready to write the next chapter of his life. One filled with stories yet to be told, adventures yet to be embarked upon, and dreams yet to be realized. With every step he takes, he feels lighter, more alive, as if he's shedding the weight of past insecurities. The stars twinkle above him, each one a reminder of the limitless possibilities that await. And as he walks toward his future, he carries with him the lessons learned, the friendships forged, and the unwavering belief that he can and will achieve his dreams. As the weeks roll into months, Jordan finds himself riding the waves of success while navigating the tumultuous waters of a burgeoning writing career. The initial thrill of being published has given way to the reality of building a sustainable path in a competitive industry. With each passing day, he feels the weight of expectation, both from himself and from those around him. The excitement of new opportunities is tempered by the fear of failure and the realization that this journey is far from straightforward. Jordan continues to work at the restaurant, where he's now a beloved member of the team, known not just as a waiter, but as a rising writer. His co-workers often ask about his latest projects, and the encouragement he receives from them fuels his motivation. Still, he knows that he must remain grounded, balancing his responsibilities with his aspirations. The restaurant is a safety net, but it's also a reminder of the life he wants to transcend. One evening, after a particularly busy dinner rush, Jordan finds himself sitting at the bar, nursing a glass of water while Steve organizes the receipts. The restaurant is quieting down, and the hum of conversation has faded into a soothing backdrop. "You seem deep in thought," Steve remarks, glancing over at Jordan with a knowing smile. "What's on your mind?" Jordan leans back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. "I'm just feeling a bit overwhelmed, to be honest. I've had a bit of success, but now I'm worried about keeping up with it. What if my next piece isn't as good? What if I can't replicate that first success?" Steve nods, his expression serious yet encouraging. "That's completely normal. The fear of not measuring up can be paralyzing. But remember, every writer faces this at some point. It's part of the creative process. The key is to keep writing, keep exploring new ideas. Don't let fear stifle your creativity." Jordan takes a deep breath, trying to absorb Steve's words. "I know you're right. It's just hard sometimes. I put so much of myself into my stories, and the thought of them being rejected feels like a personal failure. Here's a secret." Steve leans in, lowering his voice as if sharing a valuable insight. "Every rejection is just a stepping stone. Each no gets you closer to the next yes. The most successful writers have faced rejection countless times. It's how they learn and grow. Don't let the fear of rejection hold you back." Jordan nods, feeling a flicker of reassurance ignite within him. "Thanks, Steve. I needed to hear that." As the weeks pass, Jordan continues to refine his craft. He attends writing workshops, immersing himself in the world of storytelling, and actively seeks feedback from peers. Each critique is a lesson, each suggestion a chance to improve. He finds himself embracing the process rather than fearing it, an evolution that feels liberating. Still, the pressure of his aspirations lingers in the back of his mind. One day, Jordan receives an invitation to submit a short story to a prestigious literary competition. The thought of it sends his heart racing, a mix of excitement and dread coursing through him. This is a chance to showcase his work on a larger stage, but it also feels like a significant risk. He sits down at his desk, staring at the blank page before him, battling a familiar sense of self-doubt. Days turn into nights as he wrestles with the story, pouring his heart and soul into every word. He crafts characters that feel real, situations that resonate, and themes that reflect his own journey. But as he nears completion, the nagging voice of doubt creeps back in. What if it's not good enough? What if no one connects with it? Finally, after countless revisions, Jordan finishes the story just hours before the submission deadline. He hesitates at the computer, heart pounding as he hovers over the send button. With a deep breath, he clicks Submit, releasing the story into the world. It's a mixture of relief and anxiety, a leap of faith into the unknown. In the following weeks, Jordan immerses himself in work and writing, trying to keep his mind off the competition results. He continues to write, finding solace in the act of creation. But the waiting is excruciating. He distracts himself with shifts at the restaurant, diving into conversations with patrons, and sharing laughter with co-workers. Yet, the gnawing anticipation of the competition looms overhead. Then, one evening, as he's finishing a shift, Jordan receives an email notification that makes his heart drop. He checks his phone, and his breath catches in his throat. It's from the competition organizers. He opens the email slowly, his heart racing. The words blur as he reads. "We regret to inform you that your submission was not selected for the final round." The words hit him like a heavy blow, the weight of disappointment crashing down on him. For a moment, he feels as if the air has been sucked out of the room. He sinks into a nearby chair, staring at the screen in disbelief. All the effort, the late nights, the emotional investment, it feels like it's been for nothing. Steve notices Jordan's demeanor and approaches him, concern etched on his face. "Hey, what's wrong?" "I didn't make it. I didn't get selected," Jordan says, his voice barely above a whisper, filled with a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. "I'm so sorry to hear that," Steve replies, sitting down beside him. "But remember what we talked about? This isn't the end." Jordan shakes his head, frustration boiling within him. "But it feels like it is. I thought this was my chance. I thought I was finally getting somewhere." Steve places a reassuring hand on Jordan's shoulder. "It's a setback, not a failure. Every writer faces rejection. It's part of the journey. The important thing is to keep going, keep writing. Use this experience as fuel, learn from it. Don't let it define you." Jordan looks at Steve, the weight of disappointment still heavy in his chest. But he feels a flicker of understanding in Steve's words. "You're right. I can't let this stop me. I have to keep pushing forward." "Exactly," Steve encourages, his voice steady. "Take some time to process this, but don't dwell on it. Write something new. Channel that frustration into your next piece. You have a voice that deserves to be heard." With renewed determination, Jordan nods, the fire within him reigniting. He realizes that this moment, while painful, is just another part of his journey. It's a chance to grow, to learn, and to embrace the challenges that come with pursuing his dreams. In the weeks that follow, Jordan throws himself into his writing with a newfound intensity. He channels his emotions into a series of short stories, exploring themes of resilience, vulnerability, and the power of hope. Each piece becomes a cathartic release, a way to process his disappointment and transform it into something beautiful. He shares these new stories with Steve, who provides invaluable feedback and encouragement. "You're getting better with every piece, Jordan. This is the kind of writing that will resonate with people. Keep it up." Steve praises, offering suggestions to refine Jordan's voice further. As the seasons change outside, so does Jordan. He embraces the ups and downs of the writing life, learning to navigate the unpredictability with grace. He finds strength in vulnerability, discovering that sharing his struggles only deepens his connection with his readers. His stories become a reflection of his experiences, a testament to the power of perseverance and the beauty of resilience. Finally, after months of hard work, Jordan decides it's time to submit again. He looks for new competitions, new opportunities, and new avenues to share his writing. The fear that once paralyzed him is now a source of motivation, propelling him forward rather than holding him back. One evening, as he prepares to submit another story, he takes a moment to reflect on how far he's come. The journey has been filled with challenges, but he knows that each setback has shaped him, each moment of frustration has fueled his determination, and each bit of rejection has forged his resilience. With renewed confidence, he hits submit once more, feeling a sense of closure and hope. This time, he doesn't dwell on the outcome. Instead, he focuses on the process, the act of creation, and the joy that comes from expressing himself through words. As the sun sets on another day, Jordan steps outside and takes a deep breath, the crisp air invigorating him. He looks up at the stars above, feeling a sense of connection to the universe and the endless possibilities that await. He knows that the path ahead may be unpredictable, but he's ready to embrace it, ready to face whatever challenges come his way. With each step, he feels lighter, more alive, and more attuned to his purpose. Jordan understands now that the journey of a writer is not just about accolades or recognition. It's about the stories that need to be told, the voices that need to be heard, and the courage it takes to keep moving forward. And as he walks into the night, he carries with him the lessons learned, the friendships forged, and the unwavering belief that he can and will achieve his dreams. The challenge ahead is daunting, but it's also an opportunity for growth, and he's ready to face it head on, pen in hand.